What's up, guys? So Zine over here, Elio Forex. What I'm gonna do right now is show you guys how how I came up with the GBPUSD and the gold buys trades that I did take yesterday. Right. I'm going to give you guys a quick video on a slightly deeper look a look into how I generally take my trades every single day or every single time, right? Okay, so first things first, what I do when I step onto the chart, I look for the previous day high or the previous day low, right? So today's Tuesday, and these are trades that I took on Monday. So I'm using Friday's high and low because we are going to make it as though today is Monday, right? So this was the previous day high, right? So I'm just gonna drag it right through, right, to the current day, right, so to speak, because we are assuming that today is Monday or making it look like today is Monday, right? And then the previous day low, right? Then drag it right through till almost the end of the day. That way we have that in place. Okay, right? So the previous day high and the previous day low are set in place, right? That's the high and that's the low of the previous day. So after I've done that, what I normally would look for is the market to react around this area for sells or the market to react around this area for buys, right? But yesterday we did not have that. What I did notice is that we had a potential inverse head and shoulder pattern forming. So I was waiting for the left shoulder and then obviously the buy. Now, what happened yesterday is that as I was waiting for that area, let me just also include the area of support and resistance here for that left shoulder, right, going right through to there. Okay, awesome. Now, yesterday I was obviously waiting for the market makers to come and react with the low in order for me to buy, right? But I also did notice that we had an inverse head and shoulder pattern that was forming, so I had to take that into consideration, right? So what happened is, as I was still waiting, I noticed a W formation or a double bottom, right, in that area. Now, what I did was I plotted out a small trend line right in this area here. And my idea was, if this market is to buy, I need to see the market break above that small trend line and I'll take my entries. So the market did do that and I already had my buy trade in, right? I sent a buy trade to my Signal subscribers and I think I had about a 30 or so stop loss in there, right? I think 30 pips stop would be right around here, right? So as you can see, we did get taken out. I had a I think about a 30 to 40 pip TP, right? So somewhere in there. Let's just assume it was there, right? Now, as you can see, we did get taken out after a couple of pips of profit, and I did highlight it to my Signal subscribers that we were taken out. But also keep in mind, I do not trade with a stop loss. Reason being, there's a lot of stop hunting that goes on in the market. The market makers are always going to manipulate price in order to take out your stops and then go in the favorable direction. As you can see, that is exactly what happened yesterday. So because I don't trade with a stop loss, I have what we call a mental stop. So I have areas where I would generally like to close if the market maybe violates the area. So for me, that was this area here. If I saw the market maybe break down, retest, and continue falling, then that would have meant to me that, okay, this market is not buying. So I would have taken a much greater loss, right? I think I would have taken over 60 to 70 pips loss on that one, but I only had a about 30 pip stop, right? Actually, well, mental stop for me was down here, and then that's the stop loss that I gave to my Signal subscribers. But I also did notify them that I had the trade still running, and I did tell them that I'm re-entering trades after I saw a certain confirmation that this market was still going to buy. So that was merely a stop hunt. Now I'll explain to you guys what I did see, right? Let's just remove this. Now I want you guys to notice how here we have these 45 minutes of movement, these three candles, this green one, this black, and this black, right? That's three 15-minute candles that amounts to 45 minutes of movement. I want you guys to notice how that 45 minutes of movement was taken out by one 15-minute candle. Look at how they whipped right out of that area to show that somebody was being trapped in a sell trade, right? Now, you see how we have a very large bearish candle to the downside, right? Now, a lot of people like to enter after a break of structure. So this was more or less a support area. As you can see, we had rejections, and then they just broke out of that area. Now, telling people that we are potentially going short. Now, this candle here supports the fact that that was a stop hunt. And look at how they whipped right out of that area in just 15 minutes. So meaning that a whole lot of sellers were trapped in the sell trade, right? In a short. Now, those are lower level shorts that got trapped, and obviously we got trapped also in the higher level longs because we took a trade before the stop hunt occurred. So that's one lesson that I do have for you. Wait for a stop hunt to occur, and then you can take the opposite directional trade. So we got stopped out because we took an early entry, and then the sellers got stopped out because they took late sells rather, at that area, and the market makers actually were reacting to that shoulder, but they had to manipulate price to take out people so that they can book a profit. So that is generally how I had that buy trade in, and as you can see, it was extremely successful going up to the upside. And I had my TP at around 135.20, right? 135.20, and I did have other trades which I had entered going up to 135.50. As you can see, we did hit 135.50, right around here. Now I want you guys to take note of something. Why would the market generally start to chop or consolidate at 135.50? This further proves my theory on in previous videos that these numbers that you see on screen, these whole numbers here, they're not just for show. They have a great significance in your success in this industry. So you have to take note of these whole numbers, halfway points, and quarter numbers as well. These numbers are going to give you a lot of success if you understand them and know how to use them. That's a whole other series that you need to understand in terms of the movement of the Forex market, right? So, of course, yesterday I didn't get reactions at the daily low or the previous day low for me to take a buy, but also this shoulder here or that area did give me the buying opportunity that I was looking for, and we did successfully get those buys in, and we did book a profit at the end, right? Now let's just go to gold so I can show you how I took the gold buy trade as well. Okay, so this is gold, right? Let me just explain it to you. I was just creating another video before, but it came out with no sound, so I have to redo it. There's a lot of work that goes into it, guys, so it's not just about me coming on and wasting a couple of minutes. I mean, this is also valuable time that I could be using to do something else to better myself as a trader. But anyway, let's go. So what do I do? Previous day high, right? That's the previous day high. I'm using this area here, guys. If you didn't understand, that's the previous day high, right? So, and now obviously I did say that we look for the low, but honestly, guys, this low was way too low. It was about 300 pips, if I'm not mistaken, exactly 325 pips or so, 230 pips, right, for the low. So there was, for me, it didn't make sense that the market makers would come down 300 pips in a day, right, and then start to buy off of 300 pips again. It doesn't make sense. I mean, this is already way too much for one day's movement, and it's not even NFP. NFP was the Friday, so all this movement here is basically through NFP. This whole buy here is basically because of NFP. So for me, it didn't make sense that they will go so far to react with the low. So what I did do was I identified the low of the session, which was the Asian session, right? Which was this area here. Let me actually use a different tool. Okay, so the Asian session low, basically from this white line, the white dotted line, that's the daybreak tool, right? It shows you basically the start of a new day up until the end of a new day. So basically this is the start of a new day, this is the end of that day. Okay, so I identified the low of that session or for the day, And this was before the market actually came. I think the market was somewhere in here. I did send out some analysis to some people that I expect the market to react with the daily low or the Asian session low and then buy off from there, and of which that's exactly what happened. So unfortunately, because I was driving at that time, I missed this entry completely, and I waited again till I got some more confirmation, and I got in around here at 1817. And we did find extreme success with this trade. We had almost 0% drawdown, right? And we basically went up for about 40 pips TP1, and TP2 was about 100 pips, of which we didn't hit yet. But we could possibly hit it, but or we're already out of the trades. We did get a maximum of 60 pips though from this trade. So once we jumped in, I'll show you guys the signals that I sent out now, right? Once we jumped in, I did not really have a care for the current day's high, right, which was in this area here. The reason why I don't care for the current day's high is because it won't have any significance in terms of stopping the trade bias for that day, right? It won't have any significance with stopping the trade bias. So the current day's high is not really an area of interest for me because they are reacting to the previous day, not the current day. So they will react to the current day in some cases, but yesterday they didn't. What they mainly did was break structure, retest, and continue pushing up. That's what they did. That's how I would work with the current day's high, right? So that's how I did get the buy trade on gold. That's how I did get the buy trade on GBPUSD. Let me just go into my Telegram and show you guys that I did send this analysis out to a friend, right? And here it is. So what I did say, if you check the bottom left, I said gold is likely to test the daily low, then buy. So don't look at this middle section, just look at this on the right hand side. As you can see, that's the area where I did indicate that it would buy from, and it did, and the target was 1825, and we did hit that target. We went up to 1826 if I'm not mistaken, somewhere there, and that's generally how I did get the trade. Now I'll just go to my signals group real quick and show you that I did send the signal on both trades, right? So that was the 8th, right? There we go. GBPUSD buy, SL 35 pips, TP 35 pips, 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, right? Then I did say abort the trade. Let me adjust something. So now that was when I was noticing some bearish tendency in the market. So I decided, okay, let's abort. Then a couple of minutes later, I did say enter the trade now. And then about 2 hours or so later, we got taken out. The SL got hit. But obviously I did tell you guys I don't use a stop loss. I have a mental stop in place. And then after that, I did send them an analysis of what I expected the market to do, right? And obviously we didn't reach the low, but I did say if you are holding with me, we're back in profit. Then we were hovering around 5 to 10 pips of profit, and then eventually we started breaking out, and then we did hit the TP eventually, right? There we go, GBPUSD TP hit, and then the gold trade buy SL 40 pips, TP1 40 pips. So generally the first TP is like 1-to-1, right? 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And then after a couple, like 25 minutes, we hit 40 pips, and then eventually 60 pips of profit. And yeah, that's when I said make sure to lock all profit and all trades. And that was generally it for the day, right? So that's what happened, and that's how I took my trades. So hope this video is beneficial, or will be beneficial, or was beneficial to whoever is watching or whoever will watch. And yeah, guys, it's MZ at Illyria Forex signing out. Have a profitable day, have a profitable week, and enjoy the rest or the remaining days of this year.